Okay, due diligence, like Pendansky's tent in Camp Green Lake, right? D is for diligence, right? If you think Pendansky's a doctor, right? Mr. Sir, I'm a pretty man. Guys, literacy, right? They have a movie out about the Odyssey now, right? And people watch that for entertainment. And there's a story that Homer wrote down for the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and then there's the story that happened because he was the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, right? And everybody knows there ain't no such thing as cyclopses and sirens and and all that bullshit and mermaids and merman, and Never Land and all the rest of that shit, right? Everybody know that, right? And so the biggest cog in genocidal operations is scientific and mathematical comprehension of what's perceived as literacy, right? You know, forgive debt and trespass, love one another, eternal faithful peace. Life is eternal, grace is infinite. You know, laws are provided by an infinite essence for our eternal existence. In order to maintain that eternal existence, faithfully love one another, we have to understand and obey the laws. If we take the perception of the soul and try to put it on a computer to murder, to disobey the laws, then the technology has to be corrected by the living word who is eternally faithful, right? Right. So I was sitting there, my dad was watching the rodeo, and Suzuki jumps in my head. He's the best. He's like, Dad goes, this is the only guy that's ridden the bull today on this thing. I said, so what? And he got the bull didn't buck real hard. So one guy rides the bull and the other people got put on bulls they can't ride and he wins, right? I come over here and Suzuki says, oh, you don't think maybe all people in Texas where your dad ride rodeo, that all winners of rodeo are family members of people that own rodeo? That poor person who not own rodeo have no chance to win? If he can ride, well, then he gonna bring in more money because he can ride the rankest bull. He's Billy Ian McLean, Old Red was one of the orneriest yet I'd seen in the big rodeo. He'd stomp you and kick you and stomp out your life. Old Red would never been rode. Meaner than sin, wild as the wind that blew on the Montana plain. So he flips over and taking Billy with him and crushes. He rode Red, but Red killed him. Right? Well, because Red had to sell insurance. Red had to sell cars. Red had to sell comic books. When Captain America throws his famous shield to save us from Red Skull. And which one of you motherfuckers is the Red Skull? Selling us insurance and drugs and denying us the Lord's Prayer with technology and money, right? Which one of you motherfuckers is the Red Skull, right? He'll stomp you and kick you and stomp out your life. Old Red has... I'm sitting there watching the NBA, and I remembered, how they was. I was the Mexican thug. And I always got run off the team by all the good citizens and everything, right? And then if you go try to get camaraderie from the poor black guys, no. They want to play in the NBA. They want to get paid. They want to lay. They want the hottest girl in the business. They want to have sex with Beyonce. They want to have sex with J-Lo. They don't want you having sex with J-Lo. You're actually a white kid masquerading as a Mexican whose family was poorer than your family. Your dad's a lawyer and your dad was an NBA player, right? But I can whoop your ass in basketball like I'm tying my shoes. Meaner than sin, wild as the wind that blew on the Montana plain, right? Old Red was one of the honest yet and wasn't about to be tamed. Yeah, that's my ma. She's Old Red. Oh, New Mexico, give this child a home, give the love of a family and a woman of his own. I'm living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. I cannot be concerned with how you assholes treat the living word, how you treat the Messiah. You've done this for over 10,000 years. Go all the way back to Adam and Eve. Adam had to take Eve and go away. I had to go away. A writer takes his pen to write the words again that all in love is fair, right? So you make up bullshit stories about us so we're never real, and you never get to love the truth of our faithful love. Let's give Adam and Eve another chance, got to learn to love one another, right? And so we have a lot of assholes in the world. And most of them have big ego problems and lots of money and no idea what's whack and what's dope, right? And they're watching this. So there's Clyde Frazier and there's John Starks and Allen Houston, the proud Knickerbocker heritage. You know, if I'd been able to play basketball and the Knickerbockers had drafted me, you probably might have won a couple more championships in the 1990s, right? But I retired after 4 years. Where are you going? Earl's going to the mountains to make love to his wife. He married this little 4'10" Mexican girl named Edna Gomez Parsons. And they have 3 kids and 3 cats in the yard. And life used to be so hard, you know. It would have been one or the other, you know. It just depends on how the assholes were going to make it all work out. And all those people, he wasn't any good. No, I was good. I just didn't, you know, I wasn't encouraged to try to play basketball when I got out of the service because my mom was dying of cancer and I just was not focused on, you know, like right now. You know, I'm not focused on getting hot and sexy and safe to have sex with a super diva because I'm too depressed that it's entirely tangible that 700 million people in China were murdered since the dawn of COVID because they were trying to decrease the surplus population to give all the rich people and the famous people a better quality of life. Meaner than sin, wild as the wind that blew on the Montana plains. Right? Old Rez was one of the orneriest yet and wasn't about to be tamed. Then she raised her kid to be that way, and then she said, "You can't do it, Earl, they'll kill you." I said, "Mom, life's eternal, grace is infinite. I'm not concerned about that." And Judy Krishnamurti and D.T. Suzuki tell me that all the time. That's not your issue, Parsons. Okay? That's Nebuchadnezzar's issue. That's Barack Obama's issue. That's Joe Biden's issue. No wonder he went all auto pen and lost his mind. I would too if I was a good Catholic trying to have a banker pervert replace the Messiah in North San Ysidro. Yeah, I'd probably lose my mind too. Being a career politician, it's hard. It's hard to be a career politician. It's really hard. I mean, all you think about is how much sex you're going to have in the Lincoln bedroom with all the hot girls that are in financial difficulties, and you can get them out. With a little luck, we can set it off. We can set it in for a minute. How else is Donald Sterling gonna have sex with the hot girls that dance at the basketball games if he don't own the fucking team? And then if Magic Johnson becomes one of the owners, it's better. A man that competed with Wilton Norman Chamberlain on having sex with women because he saw it as competition, and in order not to get them pregnant, he sodomized them. And how many women did that man kill with acquired immune deficiency syndrome? And then Dick Enberg said if God was going to pick anybody to survive AIDS, it would be you, Magic Irvin Johnson, because he's a psychotic, and it's survival of the fittest because we're not living the Gospels and we're living Darwinism. That makes it sick, Dick Enberg. What do you think, Spike Lee? You think love and hate gonna work it out? You think hate is the opposite of love? I would say selfish is the opposite of love, and I hate selfishness. So I'd say love and hate, you know. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. Okay, that's what I say. Make a movie about El Haj Malik El Shabazz and kiss ass to Louis Farrakhan because you're afraid he's going to get some trifling ass motherfucking niggas to kill you in Harlem. Saturday night in Harlem. Earl don't play, man. But I'm not concerned with how you assholes treat the Messiah. That's not my issue. That's Don Juan Trump's and the Pentagon's issue. That's the Supreme Court's and Congress's issue. Okay? That's Elon Musk and Doge's issue. Department of Government Efficiency's issue. How efficient are you at trying to mass murder the poor for the wealthy to maintain the status quo, deny the Gospels? And then you put it on there. It's like, so a quantum computer is better than Blaise Pascal? Are you sure about that? I think it's that your brain needed my brain to understand Pascal better because Jesus and Pascal and spirit are one. That's what I think. What do you think, Saladin? Said I nailed it. Okay, thank you. I love you too. I love Saladin. He's the best. He doesn't have to study. He doesn't have to study it anymore. He said that. Why do I have to study genetics of horses and dogs to try to scientifically validate the truth of the Gospels? Haven't we gone above and beyond the call of Dookie on that one? And Doge, there you go. Okay. So, don't you get so mad about it? Do you have to get so mad? Right? So, people acting trifling because of money for basketball. Lots of pretty brown girls. I used to love to go to the basketball games because there was all the pretty brown women. And I knew, because I was so damn good, that I would get me. And I used to, because Tella was interested in me. Michelle Pettis was interested in me. Almost all the prettiest brown girls in town were interested in dating me because I was the best basketball player and I was nice and I wouldn't cheat on you. So they were, if I was my daughter, I would choose Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. too. Right? You know what I mean? But it didn't get to happen. And then when it did happen, those little girls were science projects from the Annapolis, the Pentagon, and West Pointers, and the Labrador Retrievers. Oh, really? Well, give me a Labrador and I'll retrieve it. Okay. Male blank. Yeah, hey, he's private spoof or whatever and stuff, doing all the the propaganda for Captain America to throw his famous shield to have super soldiers to mass murder their super soldiers so we win, so we're the champions of the money. I don't like coffee, it gives me a headache. Yeah, Mike Brown might want to take some of these superstars out of the game there because they're playing a little rough there and they keep hurting them, and they're going to make sure that they won't have them for the next series against whoever they wins if they wins there. That happens a lot. It does. I say you're in the fourth quarter, you get up by 20, you take all your starters, you put them on the bench. The other team comes back, then you deserve to lose. But if not, they'll hurt you. Yeah. Just like all the families in El Paso that had their kids win the, and I hated that. That was one thing I hated most about the rodeo when we was sitting there, when Dad had a fucking OB in the show horse thing, because he was gorgeous, right? And OB, it was a dick measuring contest, and he knew, and he stuck his penis all the way to the dart. And the rest of the horse just stood there because they knew, hey, that's the center for the New York Knicks. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? Wow, that's Shaquille O'Neal right there. He's going to win. He's the best shower. That's Schwarzenegger horse there. Schwarzenegger horse. That's Tom Jones. That's Engelbert Humperdinck. He's going to win. Okay. He knew, and I'm like, why aren't the other horses doing it? Because the other horse a dick measuring contest and nobody knows. And my dad was so embarrassed. He's sitting there standing there, this beautiful shore horse, and this penis sticking out, you know, and he knew what he was doing. Oh, Elijah knew what he was doing. He hated being a show horse. You know, he just wanted to buck people off, protect his mom from rattlesnakes, wolves, coyotes, and mountain lions, and born free as the wind blows. That's all El Blige wanted to do. Okay? If he was going to be a horse that anybody rode, it was going to be Crazy Horse or Little Hawk that rode him. Because he would sit down and tell him, I'll have your mother nearby and your colts, and I will keep them safe from rattlesnakes near the cliffs. I will keep them safe. The mountain lions stay away from me, and so do the grizzly bears. Opposable thumbs, bow and arrow, and okay. Clayton can kill Kerchik, right? Trash in the camp. So the world's run by a bunch of damn dirty apes, right? So, my job, in all the books that most of you can't, you illiterate, right? My job, Earl, 1322nd Redeemer, me from from Islamic prophecy, the spirit of John from Mormon prophecy. His job is to be the truth of the Gospels, and your job is to obey the truth of the Gospels, or your invention of technology, which is trying to reflect the glory of the soul through the trapping the soul through the disgusting selfishness of your mind. You don't understand? So maybe DOGE gets it. Department of Government Efficiency? Be efficient enough not to elect a government that mass murders people over numbers on a card. Fortune favors the brave. if you think you're a Roman and you think you've turned Jesus into a cartoon character that you're better than. How brave is that? Not brave at all. That's a way of a child molesting pervert coward who sells cars and uses kids in the advertising, who sells insurance and uses children in the advertising, who indoctrinates people with institutionalization and incarceration and uses children in the advertising, especially children that are dying from cancer because of the institutionalization, the indoctrination, and the incarceration. Do not get up and get violent and kill them. That will just further their cause to use you in genocide operations and justify the ends to the means. They've been doing it for years. The ends justifies the means. The ends justify the means. And do not be part of these fucked up propaganda movies of all this disgusting, psychotic, abusive manipulation to fuck with people's heads and make them be disgusting people because we're just disgusting by nature. No, me and Jesus aren't, Clayface. Okay? Wait till you get a load of me. Right? Physically, I look like I look because of the way you treated me, not because of the way I treat others. You look at the early videos I made, he looks just like the portraits of Son of Man, right? And I don't feel bad about my physical appearance at all. I get depressed because people are being mass murdered because of your brain chemical addiction, and I have to fix the technology largely by myself. And if that wouldn't be depressing to you, that's why you're not the Messiah and Early Bird is. Mary Poop's little bear, Ralph and Mary's little boy, right? Junior, as Aunt Frances would call me. My Uncle Frank passed away yesterday. So our little Erica Sue's going to be sad. She really loves her dad and her mom. She's a good kid. And he has, Ricky and Robbie are, sweetheart kids. They really are. It's Richard and Robert. Robert, named after Rastas. I'm just kidding around, You don't look like a Bill. But the first Rasta's name is Boob. Oh, Bill. It's funny. Yeah. There's quite a few Rastas. Robbie Shakespeare. Okay. Richard. I'm certain there are Richards that are Rasta. Oh, yeah. Quite certain. I know of one Peter, two Roberts, one Sylvester, which is, I think, British names, right? Sylvester. Yeah, Sly Dunbar. Okay. And so, yeah, there was people telling my friend William, you don't look like a William because he's Rasta. He's like, are you sure about that? Robert Marley, Peter McIntosh, Robbie Shakespeare, and Sylvester Dunbar. Oh, William, whatever William's last name was, pretty much fall in line. Okay. Our parents were once owned by the people that owned Jamaica. Okay. That's funny. I know it is. Oh, Lord. So I look forward to the day when the children are free from your institutionalization, indoctrination, and incarceration. I look forward to the day when I've completed my task of correcting the bad brain activity on technology that's supposed to be supremely intelligent to the eternal humility and humble faith and courage and kindness of the Messiah. I look forward to that day. If you don't look forward to that day, you're a Department of Government Efficiency murdering asshole who prays to comic books in your head to try to replace Jesus with your ego and your penis. And you probably were one of the people that helped erect phallic symbols in Egypt as well as in the District of Columbia. It was a black man who came up with the roads for Washington, D.C., and lots of black folks are proud about that. Yeah, well, you proud of building those pyramids and having those big statues of mass murderers that threw babies to crocodiles because a man who is faithful is going to take away your genitalia and mass murder, violent sex cult delusions of divinity in your flesh? If the shoe fits and wear it, if your mind hurts and bear it, it's your conscience to live with. I expected a lot of folks, brown folks and people that were oppressed and abused by economics to stand up with me for the Lord's Prayer, like Nestor Robert Marley and others, but it didn't happen. And now I'm understanding why. Well, because they know your brain activity better than you know your brain activity. And they want to continue the mass murder over the money with the technology because they's addicted to it as you is. They eyes is watching God. Ooh. In the pines where the sun never shines, right? Well, I'm like Job. Yeah, I can see the sun. I can see for miles and miles. I can have the humble vision of eternity through humility that survives hell, because I am the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer, which is the key to the kingdom of heaven, right? If you don't believe that, me and George Strait got some oceanfront property in California, in Arizona, right next to Yuma Proving Grounds, after we sell all our cattle ranches in Amarillo. Amarillo by morning. Yeah, no, I like George Strait. He's pretty tolerable, you know. The one I like is the one they said they didn't like in Nashville. I really liked, you know, my country during my generation. My favorite was just because of his Hillbilly Deluxe was Dwight Yoakam. Yeah, he was my favorite. I did like him a little bit better than old Garth Brooks. He was a little bit more traditional, you know. And he also did say, I like Ray Price. Heartache number 2 was when you called me, told you was coming, or was it 3? I can't remember. Hoping hard I waited for your knock on the door. I waited, but you must have lost your way. Now I've got heartaches by the numbers. Trouble. I sound more like Ray Price and less like Dwight Yoakam, so sorry. Troubles by the score. Every day you love me less, each day I love you more. I've got heartaches by the numbers, a love that I can't win. But the day that I stop counting, that's the day my world will end. It's a good tune. Yeah, it is. And then he did Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, which I like. And he did another one, I think. He did a couple, you know, the ones he did, I already did like. Did he write guitars catalogs? I know he wrote Johnson's Love, and I like the shit out that song. That's a good ass tune. That's a damn good ass tune. Yeah. Sissy Thompson said she'd seen him late that night on Shelby Road. About a mile from there they found him. Seems he'd died out in the snow. I heard the preacher at the service say from love he's finally free. But I say love, it knows no season. It haunts the soul eternally. And some people claim they still hear him call her name. Hey, hey, Maureen, swear they hear it just that plain. Deep in the night, Lord, and sometimes right at dawn. They say his body died some years ago, but around here, Mr. Johnson's love lives on. You got to say around here. You can't say around here. Yeah. It's probably like in Kentucky and shit. Okay? You got to say around here. You can't say around here. Mr. Johnson's love lives on. Okay. What's this pecani sauce shit? Where was it made? New York City? Okay, we have our salsa that's made by people in San Antonio that understand what salsa is. And do we call it picante sauce? Who came up with picante sauce? Where does that ever come from? Does that was a word? Is that one of our words? Did we come up with it? We call it salsa. Well, because did you Puerto Ricans is salsa, did you call it picante sauce? Is it called sauce? Because do we say sauce in Espanol? Is this called something different? Yo no sé. I have to look it up. I was not raised a Spanish speaker, but I was raised in a Spanish-speaking community with Spanglish because, you know, I don't use the word usted. No, I don't. I'm very familiar. I don't do that old, you know. I'm not a class caste system type person. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't have my head firmly entrenched up my ass through tribalism. Heard the preacher at the service say from love he's finally free. But I say no, love doesn't haunt the soul eternally, okay? Selfishness destroys all true, meaningful love. And if we weren't living a selfish life and she had said hurtful things to him, he'd said, Well, I'm a grown man. Yes, I am. I guess I can understand. Yes, I can. That you didn't mean me no good. And right now, it don't hurt now. It don't hurt now. Right. Or you can do Once Ago or Front Door. Both good songs. Anybody else like The Night Nurse? I does. I wish you good luck and goodbye. I'll see you around sometime. It's time you should be wise, yeah, and take off your love disguise. Is that Once Ago? Yeah, 'cause I gave her back the key to her front door. 'Cause it seems she don't care about me anymore. I gave her all the love I had and she spilled it. So he packs his clothes in a shopping bag and yeah, it's very Jamaican, right? I don't want to be lonely tonight. I mean it, yes, I mean it. I don't want to be lonely tonight. But I'd rather to be lonely than to live a dirty lie, right? You guys better understand the true meaning of literacy like Blaise Pascal. Because eternal wretchedness is a mathematical certainty to all people that deny the truth of the Gospels and turn them into fantasy because of their ego problems. I'm fixing your brain. I do it better than Mayim Bialik and Andrew Huberman, because I ain't trying to sell you beds or supplements. I'm trying to free you from philanthropy so you can love one another in the truth of in the perfection of the Gospels eternally. Haunts the soul eternally. Eternal wretchedness if you deny the Gospels. Love you, all right? Okay, peace out, man. Pensamos por mí. Think, read, understand. You don't even have to read. You can be completely illiterate. And people could tell you stories and you could go, wait a minute. That ain't them dogs' real voices. Money ain't real, but water is. Money don't grow on trees. Food don't require money to grow. It requires a good ecosystem like that guy last night on the news. Well, it's just going to get more arid and we're all going to die because we're not getting snow up in the mountains. That's because we're still driving cars in violent economic conflict in El Paso and Denver and Albuquerque. You stop doing that, the ecosystem will recover. The global warming will greatly diminish, and then you'll have good snowpack. But they don't plan on doing that till they've killed all the people they want dead, not just in China and Japan or Europe, but in Los Estados Unidos, where they say they love you, but they fuck you in the head with technology for money and then kill you until you got magical real estate from an institution that incarcerated you with indoctrination, right? Peace out.